Hi everyone, here I am again. This is Dr. Jane with Avalon Rises, and I am coming to you with another episode of A Planet Among the Stars, our astrology analysis. And today I am talking about a very exciting astrological transition, the transit of the sun into the sign of Leo. So we have just spent a month with the sun in the sign of Cancer, and this, as I mentioned in that video, was really a time to get in touch with our feelings and our emotions and lead from our heart. And get in touch with what our heart was telling us. But sometimes people can find that, there's a lot of excess of water energy in Cancer season. And so we are now transitioning into a fire sign, the sign of Leo. And for some of you, this may be a little bit of a relief, but it also has its own special messages and special energies that we can work with to really progress ourselves and our collective during this really amazing year that we are experiencing in this time in which we're living. And so Leo is our fixed fire sign. And so the fixed signs are, well, kind of what they sound like in terms of they are fixed. They are strongly placed in their element. And so, cardinal signs actually fall at the beginning of a new season. They herald a new season. And mutable signs are actually found at the transition between seasons. Right? Mutable means changeable, so this is fitting as well. And fixed signs actually fall in the middle of seasons. And so the fixed signs here, in this instance, the fixed fire sign is falling in the middle of summer, and it is really midsummer energy. And so the fixed signs can have a quality that some may describe as stubborn to them, but they are steadfast, right? They are very solidly anchored. And this steadfastness, this strength, can really be seen in the properties of Leo and Leo energy. So Leo is ruled by the sun, and so the sun is exalted in Leo. So this is going to be a time in the year when sun energy is really potent. So still, right? So we had continued the sun energy and the power of the peak of the solar energy from midsummer. And then that helped carry us through, through July. And now here we are at the end of July, and we're entering Leo season, and the sun is still in an exalted position, and it is really going to be having a lot of power still. And so that's great. That's not going away yet anytime soon. That's not cycling out. And so your ability to tap into those solar energy, that initiative, that divine masculine energy is still really present for you. But the sun, because the sun is, as I said, exalted in the sign of Leo. And so you can see that a lot of its qualities are also found in Leo, right? The sun is the ruler of the solar system, right? And kind of that king energy of the solar system. And Leo is very much the royal sign of the zodiac. You can see this exemplified in its symbol, right? In its totem, the lion. The lion is the king of the beasts, right? And so this energy is very, very present in Leo. And it is still having all those properties of the fire energy, the creative, generative force. And in this instance, the particular flavor it brings is that of royalty. Okay, and so, when we look at the biggest strengths of Leo, courage, leadership, self-love, all of these strengths actually come from the essence of royalty. And so I want to talk a little bit about what I mean when I talk about royalty and being royal. because there's a corruption around this idea. And the corruption is not super unfounded because it actually is expressing the shadow side of Leo as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. But when I'm speaking about royalty as the virtue, right? The virtue of Leo being royalty, what I'm really speaking about is worthiness, a deep knowing of our own divine nature, our own divine sovereignty, and the worthiness that comes from when we know ourselves as kings and queens. And royalty gets expressed in our lives by recognizing that inherent worth, right? And then when we are recognizing our worth as these divine sovereigns, we act accordingly. And in terms, so, you know, this season really provides the opportunity to look at how are we treating ourselves royally? And I'm not speaking in terms of materialism, but knowing that we are worthy of beauty, of joy, of pleasure, right? Of passion, of love, these forces of creation. And so when I say, are you treating yourself royally? Are you expressing your royalty with yourself? How are you nourishing your body? Are you enjoying the food that you eat? How are you caring for your vessel? How are you presenting your vessel to yourself and the world? And, you know, we can present ourselves royally without needing to be materialistic about it. To me, a salt bath is a very royal moment. To me, doing my hair or presenting myself in a way that is expressing my true vision of beauty for myself is a very royal enterprise, right? So it's also about the expression of individuality, of your true individuality, right? But it's also about not just about how we treat ourselves and express ourselves, how we carry ourselves, how we present ourselves to the world. It's also about how we treat our kingdom, our queendom, how we treat our home, how we treat our dwelling, our animals, our plants, and also how we treat each other. And somebody who is holding that energy of royalty is also going to recognize that every other human is a divine sovereign as well, and approach them from that place of meeting another king or queen, right? Another sovereign. And so this energy of royalty is very accessible to us during Leo. And this provides a great opportunity to form some new habits in our lives that are royal habits. And when we're doing this and we are, you know, trying to hold this energy and we're like, yeah, all right, I'm going to treat people like they're kings and queens. I'm going to treat myself like I'm a queen. I'm going to treat my house like it's a castle. Okay, right? And I'm going to elevate that energy. We might run into some situations that bring in the shadow side of Leo, which we want to watch out for. And the shadow side of Leo is really more what the corrupted concept of a king or sovereign, corrupted sovereign would be. Tyrannical, bossy, right? You often hear that about Leos, like, oh, they're bossy. Well, they're not always bossy. No, the vice there is when it is being overexpressed, right? And what that means is they're imposing their will on others, which actually means inherently not treating others like they are sovereigns, right? Because if we are recognizing somebody else as a sovereign in their life, we aren't going to put our will on them, right? We are only sovereign over ourselves. So that's actually the shadow side of the virtue of Leo, right? So, tyranny, also disrespect, disrespecting others, disrespecting ourselves, self-aggrandizement or arrogance, selfishness, pride, materialism. Okay, so these are vices that are the shadow side of all of those virtues I was just talking about, right? And so, if you start to see those vices coming up in your life during this season, because remember, the sun is filtering through Leo, so the sun is going to color, that filter is going to color everything the light touches there. That's a great opportunity to then learn and say, okay, what was that situation that brought that vice forward in my life? Because that is going to be your map. It's your map to healing and your map to empowerment. And Leo season is an ideal time for empowerment work. Because when we are really being royal, we are standing in our power. We do not need to prove our power to anybody else by putting it onto them, and we do not need to give it away. So this is an excellent time to really do some empowerment work and stand as the king, queens, sovereigns that we are and build our kingdoms and queendoms as an expression of our true individual nature. So I hope that the transition into Leo season is treating you well. As always, feel free to reach out. Of course, we are in the business of empowerment and empowerment tools. So if you are looking for some empowerment, we have got plenty of options for you. Book a consult, and we would love to chat. And I hope that this helped a little bit, and I will see you guys soon because this is a busy astrological time. Thanks.